Hey kids, today we're going to make this sexy mermaid card, aptly named by my mom and dad. My mom ordered some cards from me and just wanted basic, beautiful cards, and so I made her two with this mermaid on there, and my mom and dad both said that it was risque. I don't think it's risque, but maybe she is. So the first thing I did was I stamped, and the reason I'm showing you this is because I want to show you how things sometimes go awry and you can't fix them. So I'm taking my stamp and putting it on my stamping block. And I'm going to take my Memento Tuxedo Black and ink up my stamp. I apologize for my scratchy throat. I'm sick. I don't know if I have COVID or if something else is going on. I get COVID tested tomorrow. So I had a COVID test a week ago and I tested negative, but then I got sick. So I'm going to push this down on here, and I'm going to use all my force. I even, when I did this earlier, I even stood up and put all my weight on it. Well, not all my weight, but, you know, most of my weight. I push down as hard as I can. And look at what a terrible impression I got. So, the solution to that was to try and use my, I want to clean my stamp off first because I'm going to use my Stamparatus, which is just a stamping platform that Stampin' Up! Makes. But you can use a Misti, you can use any kind of stamping platform. In fact, I'll link a Misti below. So I put my image. I've already got paper in here. I don't know if you can see it, but I've already got paper in here. I'm going to put my image where I want it on the paper. I want her a little bit crooked. I'm having a hard time getting her right where I want her. She's a little bit bigger than the paper. Well, that's good enough. I'm going to press her onto the door, and then back with my Memento Tuxedo Black ink, the same exact ink as I used before. Here we go, moment of truth. Well, not quite the moment of truth. I'm just going to give that a little rub. Much better image. It didn't go all the way through. So the beauty of these stamping platforms is that you can stamp the same image over and over again. If I had one of those doodahs with a handle on it that everybody seems to have, it might work better. But I don't have one of those doodahs. So I use my hand and call it good. Okay, let's see. We should be able to get this after one or two more tries. See how much better it's getting. But having a stamping platform is really vital for when you're trying to stamp these big stamps that don't always impress on the first try or the second try or the third try. I'm still not getting a good impression. I'm going to have to stand up. Hopefully you don't see my big old baggy sweatshirt. I'm dressed like an Eskimo. I'm cold. I don't have a fever, but I am cold. So, just really pressing down on this. But because I'm using a stamping platform, I was able to stamp it over and over and over again until I got the impression that I wanted. And that's the impression that I want right there. Without a stamping platform, it's impossible to stamp the same thing over and over again and get it in exactly the same spot. So I highly recommend a stamping platform, even if you're a beginner. They're a little bit pricey, but you're worth it. You are worth it. Okay, let's take this off. I'm drinking some hot herb tea that I made myself. It's not really herbs, it's ginger and lemon juice. Sorry for the big deep sigh. The pens that I'm going to use today are my Triblends, my Spectrum Noir, Spectrum Noir Triblends. I finally got them in. I'm so excited. So, they have a light, a mid, and a dark. And you start with the light, go to the dark, use the mid, and then go back to the light again. So let me show you how that works. We're going to color in this beautiful mermaid. And I'm just going to take some time to color her in. Color in her little ears. Color in her face. Let's see, what can we talk about? You know, I haven't really thought about what I want to talk about today. Part of that is because I just don't feel well. 2 of my children that live here have COVID. So it's safe to assume that I have COVID, but I also don't want to assume that I have COVID. I want to be tested. I didn't wait quite long enough for my ink to dry, and it's blurring a little bit. You can't see that, I don't think, but it's blurring a little bit. That's okay. I'm not making very good content today because I'm not talking. But my voice hurts. And I feel terrible. So now that we've got her mostly drawn in, we're going to go to the dark and highlight. Or low light. I'm going to low light her chin, in her ears. I'm just going to low light those places. Then I'm going to go in with the medium and buff that out so that it gives it a little bit of a, so it blends in. And then I'm going back to the light and blending over it so that it blends in completely, so that you get nice shading. Let me show you with the dull green how I did her tail. I wanted her skin to blend smoothly into the green. And so I took the light green and colored in her bum and around her little starfish. just enough. See this harsh line? I don't really want this harsh line. So I went back in with my fair light skin and went over it and buffed it out. There we have a nice smooth blend, and it goes right from her skin into her green tail, and it doesn't it didn't transfer to my pen, my fair pen, which was nice. So I'm going to color in the rest of the main part of her tail. I don't remember exactly how I did this because I did it several days ago, and my brain's not working as well as I would like it to right now because I don't feel good. But we're gonna give it a go. When I told my cancer story, a little bit of my cancer story, before in a previous video. Okay, I'm going to move to the medium. I know I said to go to dark first, but I want to do medium on these scales. So I'm going to tell you a little bit more about my cancer story. Just a tidge. One of the things that had to happen for my cancer is I had to have a full hysterectomy. And I went to the doctor, the OBGYN oncologist, after 3 rounds of chemo. And we were deciding when to do the, now I'm going back into the light to blend that in. When we were going to do the surgery, and I asked if we could do it by the end of the year. Now this is mid-November, mind you. I asked if we could do it by the end of the year, and the doctor said there is no way that we can do it by the end of the year. There's just no way. There's not room in the schedule. So I said, okay, well, let's just do it as soon as we can. And the reason I wanted to do it before the end of the year is because we had already met our deductible with our insurance, with all the chemo treatments and everything. So they went at this particular doctor's office. When you have a doctor's appointment, they leave you to get dressed and whatnot. And when they come back to check you out, they have an appointment for you. So he left me and said, okay, we're going to schedule your surgery, which we were fully expecting. Now I'm going in with the dark. We were fully expecting to not happen until the next year. And they came in and said, okay, we're going to have surgery on December 28th. And you guys, it was a miracle because we had paid out so much money for my care that it was really nice to not have to pay a copay for that surgery, because that surgery copays are expensive. And it was just a miracle. And the time came for me to have surgery, and everything went well. They were worried because of my obesity that things were going to go awry and that we were going to have problems. And no problems. Now, mind you, I did all of this every time I went to the hospital during cancer, and I went several times. Not just for surgery, but because I got sick and had to go to the emergency room and whatnot. But because of COVID, every time I went to the hospital, my husband could not come in with me, and I could not have visitors. And so I endured weeks at a time in the hospital by myself with no visitors and no opportunity to go, like I couldn't go have a visitor come and go outside and visit with them. I had to stay inside the hospital. So it was, needless to say, it was scary for me. I had been single for a few years. Was a single mom for a few years before I met my husband. And I learned to go do things by myself. And this experience with cancer and having to go to the hospital and be alone really, now I'm going to the medium to blend in right here at the tail. This experience, and now light, I don't know, it's just, I feel grateful for the time that I was single and had to take my kids to the doctor by myself or to hospital visits by myself. And now I'm moving to the red. You know, it prepared me for this time in my life where I had cancer and I had to fend for myself. It didn't make it less scary. Okay, light, now dark in the center. It's really difficult to see the shading on this. And medium. I'm not going to go back to the light because this is such a small little guy. I lost my train of thought, sorry. Anyway, my experience didn't really make it less scary. It just made it so that I could do it, and I didn't feel like I could do it. You know, every time it was time to go to the hospital, I was scared because cancer is such a big deal, you know, and what's going to happen to me. And I had several allergic reactions. I had an allergic reaction to chemo. I had an allergic reaction one of the times I'm just coloring her bra pink. Now we're moving to the, I want to paint her shell on her ear pink too. Paint, color, but I'm just going to do it in the dark pink. Yeah, one of the times I went to the hospital, they gave me oral contrast for a CT scan, and I had an allergic reaction immediately. And it was weird because I can take IV contrast, and IV contrast I'm not allergic to. So they wheeled me to the inside of the, you know, they wheeled me from triage into the actual emergency room, and put me in this little put me in this little corner room that was just like for storage. It had stuff in there that they had just thrown in there that they didn't have any other place to put. And I had what's called a Plerex catheter put in, which is it's a catheter that they insert into your belly. And now that she's all colored, I'm gonna put some sparkles, and I'm just gonna take this sheer shimmer craft spray in sparkle. I'm gonna shake it up, and I'm gonna put it in my bowl. I'm gonna spray a little bit in my bowl, and then I'm gonna paint on the shimmer spray onto her tail. So I had been given this Plerex catheter, and days before, the reason I was in the hospital is because I'd had this Plerex catheter days before. It was the weekend, and my body was swelling up. The right side of my body where the Plerex catheter had been put in was swelling, and like all the way down my leg, my whole abdomen. It was miserable. It was miserably uncomfortable. And so they wanted to do a CT scan to make sure that the Plerex catheter was functioning properly. And them putting the Plerex catheter in is a whole nother story, because things went down during that event that I don't think should have happened. But that's neither here nor there. So they have me in the ER. They finally get me a CT scan because my vitals go back to normal. And the doctor that put the Plerex catheter in just happened to be at the hospital. And he came in and he said, "Hi, LeAnne. I had a chance to look at your CT scan, and your Plerex catheter is too short, and the fluid that's supposed to come out the catheter is going into your body. It's going into that's why you're swollen. That's why you're uncomfortable." So he said, "We can wait until Monday, or we can take the Plerex catheter out right now." And I was like, "Do it right now." Like I didn't know what I was in for when I said do it right now, but I said do it right now. And I'm gonna put a little sparkle on her crown too. He said, "Okay, we don't have an OR, so we're gonna have to do it right here." And so he set up so janky, but it was an emergency situation, so you know, I can't fault the doctor or anything. But he said, "We're gonna have to set up right here." I'm gonna set this aside to dry. Put my markers away. I just decided to put this on a white card base because I wanted to keep it simple. So I'm gonna score my 8.5 by 5.5 card at 4 1/4 on both sides, and then fold it up. So the doctor set up his little surgical removal necessities onto a trash can behind himself, because this room was so small, and he numbed me up and removed the catheter and threw it in the trash. And you know, I had minor surgery in the ER. Right in the middle of all the crazy emergency roomness. Just just a crazy experience, just a crazy experience. And, you know, there were people that were like, oh, you should sue the hospital. And I'm like, no, why? You know, they took care of me. Okay, I've got this green paper that it's floral, but when I put it on the card under the mermaid, it reminds me of seaweed. And that's why I chose it. I have a ton of this paper. I bought it with wedding invitations in mind to make wedding invitations for customers. And I keep using it because I think it's pretty. And anyway, I cut it the same size as the card. So I'm putting the card in the corner of my stamping apparatus. And then I'm going to just put this in the corner and put it right on top. And it should be a perfect fit. Voila! Once again, I'm not sure if I finished my story. Okay. I'm going to take this mounting tape. This is, I'll link this below. This is not crafting tape. This is like insulation foam. I'm going to take my sticky scissors and cut what I need off. Now I'm going to put quite a bit of this on here because I'm mounting the card all the way up. Thank you for listening to my story. I'm not sure how interesting it is. It's a little bit crazy, some of the things I went through during my cancer journey, but I'm grateful. I'm grateful to the doctors and nurses that took such good care of me, even when things went awry, like putting a Pleurax catheter in that was too short, because the doctor that put it in, who also took it out, said while we were in the OR, oh, this is too short, this is too short, but he put it in anyway. And because he put it in anyway, I had complications. And, you know, that's another reason people are like, you should sue. But, you know, he's human. He made a mistake. It's not a big deal. It didn't kill me. I don't know if it could have killed me, but it didn't kill me. So, it's all okay. Okay. Now I'm just going to center this to the best of my ability. And there we have one very beautiful mermaid card. Sparkly, pretty, shimmery. If you enjoyed this video, please smash the like button. My thumbs up. Please smash the like button. Give me a follow. I would love to have you part of the family. And as always, if you love me, share. Thanks a million. Have a great